Hello, and welcome to my first Devar Torah. So, I've been thinking a little bit for the last 2 or 3 years about an idea concerning the stories of Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. And I'm convinced that, in part, these stories are about going from hunter-gatherers, nomads, to becoming farmers and discovering agriculture. I believe that parts of these stories is about that, and I have many reasons for it, which I'll get into in due time. Now, first of all, I'm going to mainly use the English terms rather than Hebrew terms, including personal names and stuff like that, just to so it's easier for people who aren't Jewish or aren't well acquainted with the Hebrew language. And before we start, if you don't know anything about Hebrew or about Semitic languages, it's very important to explain one thing, and that's the system of consonant roots, which means that a word like Adam, for example, perfect example, Adam means human. And in every word that is connected to that word will have the same consonants. So you have Adam, human, Adama, earth, Dam, blood, and Adom, red. So words can be thematically connected in a way in Semitic languages that they can't really be, which is a different way of working from Indo-European languages such as English or Swedish or German. So you need to understand that this is how it works. You build from consonants. So knowing that, it's going to be a lot easier to follow along. Now, let's begin. Already in verse 11 and 12, when Hashem, God, has started to create the earth, and it says, Vayomer Hashem Tiche eretz deshe'esev mizriya zera eitz pri ose pri limenu asher zaru bo ala aretz vayichen, approximately. And Hashem said, let the earth sprout forth vegetation, herbage yielding seed, fruit trees yielding fruit after its kind, containing its own seed on the earth. And it was so. And then in the next line, we have Vatotse haaretz deshe'esev mizriya zera limenhu ve'etz ose pri asher zaru bo limenhu Vayaru Elohim Kitov. And the earth brought forth vegetation, herbage yielding seed after its kind, and trees yielding fruit, each containing its seed after its kind. So, first of all, we have repetition. Now, repetition in the Torah is very, very important. If something was repeated, it means that word or that concept or that idea is extremely important. And now in the creation story, we have a lot of repetition. Not only repetition, we have a lot of structure. If we go back, you can see that, let's go back to verse 11. You can see that first of all, it says herbs, vegetation and herbs, and then fruits. And then in 12, it says vegetation, herb, fruits. Okay, that's interesting. Where is it? Well, because in verse 12, the words that is used for vegetation and seed-bearing plants is deshe and esev. Okay, so what's the point of that? Well, in the absolute last part of the Torah, which we just read not too long ago, in the absolute last part of the Torah, it says this, and right now I can't remember if it's Moses or Joshua who says this, so I'm sorry. But anyway, it's Deuteronomy 32:2, where it says, Ya'arav katama likhi tizal ketal imrati kishirim al deshe v'chivivim alei Esav. And it means, may my discourse come down as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, like showers on young growth, deshe, like droplets on the grass, Esav. So, in one of the absolute first parts, in one of the first verses of the Torah, the words that are used to denote life, greenery, herb, vegetation, is deshe and Esav. And in Deuteronomy 32:2, the deshe and the Esav are the people of Israel. And in a larger context, humanity as a whole. How goodness and love comes down from the sky. And if we just take that water and that sunlight, we can grow. That's all we need to do. We just need to take it. So now that so obviously there's some kind of connection here. What that connection is, I'm not sure, but there's some thematic connection here. And also, once again, repetition. What else is repeated here? Seeds. Seeds, 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 seeds. Deshe Esav Mizriya Zera, and Pri Leminhu Asher Zarubo. That's in 11. So that's seeds, seeds. Mizriya Zera, the seed, that herb yielding seed. And in 12, it's seeds and seeds again. It's vegetation and plants with seeds, and it's fruits with seeds. Vegetation, seeds, fruits, seeds. Over and over again, it's about seeds. So why are seeds so important? Well, we'll get back to that, because we go from verse 12 to verse 14. And it says, it says as much as, ויאמר השם יהי מאורות ברקיע השמיים להבדיל בין היום ובין הלילה, ויהיו לאותות ולמועדים ולימים ושנים. So it means Hashem said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate day from night. They shall serve as signs for the set times, the days and the years. And this, in this instance, Moadim is the word that are used for set times. And I mean, if it was only about, light and darkness, logically speaking, shouldn't it just say something similar to Hashem created the sun so things could grow and live, and the moon because you need a light during the night? No, it says they will separate day from night, of course, but they will serve as signs for the set times. Now, why would that be of any importance? Because, we have the moon, tells us where in the month we are. We have the sun to tell us where in the year we are, as well as stars. And why do we need that? Why do we need to know when in the year we are? Because if you're a hunter-gatherer, you need to know approximately when and where things grow. You need to know when certain animals are coming in herds to certain areas. I mean, traditionally, historically speaking, hunter-gatherer nomads have often followed flocks of animals. So you don't really need to know necessarily exactly when it is in the year. However, if you're a farmer, you need to know exactly when in the year, what time in the year you are. You have to know when to plow, when to sow, when to harvest, everything. And different crops have different needs and maybe need to be prepared or sown at different times, etc., etc. You need to know where in the year you are. And this might seem like a stretch, but you have to remember that there are archaeological remains of sun calendars that are thousands of years old. I mean, there seem to have been sun calendars way before we had any larger civilizations. So keeping track of the sun is not strange at all. You have there are man-made structures from tens of thousands of years ago, man-made structures that line up perfectly with the summer solstice, for example, or where you have a rock face where 12 large indentations have been chopped out, 12 different, and it just happens to be that the sun moves through those throughout the year. So we have been given the sun and the moon and the stars not just to see, but to tell us when in the year we are, which is extremely important, completely central for agriculture. And then it says that they shall serve as lights in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. And it was so. Now, so if we think about it like this, the sun shines over everything. I mean, the sun illuminates the sky. The sun makes the sea glitter in such a beautiful way. I mean, who doesn't love seeing the horizon of the sea, on a clear day? Seagulls or whatever, and the sun glistening on the water. I mean, it is so beautiful. Or sunsets with the pink clouds and stuff. I mean, it's so beautiful. But no, it's not about shining in the sea. It's not about shining in the sky. It's about shining upon the earth. And that's what it says. They shall serve as lights in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. So why just the earth? Why doesn't it say anywhere that it will illuminate the sky or illuminate the waters of the sea? No. The only thing that's mentioned is it is here to shine upon the earth. And in verse 29, we have let me see. Yes. Let me see. In verse 29, it says, "Vayomer Hashem hine natati lachem et kol aizev zorea zera asher al pnei chol haaretz ve'et kol ha'etz asher bo pri eitz zorea zara lachem Adonai lachla." So Hashem said, "Behold, I have given you all herbage-yielding seed that is on the surface of the entire earth, and every tree that has seed-yielding fruit, it shall be yours for food." Once again, it's fruits and plants with seeds. And once again here, the word for seed is once again repeated. Earlier it was Mizriya Zera and Zarobo. Now it's Zorea Zera and Zorea Zara. Zorea, zara, zara, zara. It means like seed, or seedy seed. It's just like seeds and seeds and seeds and seeds and seeds all over and over and over and over again. But what happens in the next verse? This is when things start getting really interesting, in my opinion. Ulechol haya haaretz, ulechol of hashamayim, ulechol ramesh ala haaretz asher bo nefesh haya if kol yarok esev lachla vehi chen. And to every animal of the earth, to every bird of the sky, and to everything that moves on earth within which there is a living soul, I give as green plants for food. So obviously there's a big difference between human food and animal food when it comes to plants. We are supposed to eat the stuff with seeds, whereas the animals are supposed to eat the green plants. And in my opinion, I think that the green plants in this case are plants like grasses or moss or urumbunke. I can't remember what the English term is, but basically stuff that grows kind of everywhere, weeds and stuff like that. Whereas things with seeds are things that are specifically harvested and or planted. So we're supposed to eat that which has seeds. Now, you'll have dishe, aisav, and pri, which means fruit. It's also fruit comes back over and over again. Fruit with seeds. Plants with seeds. Fruits with seeds. Fruits with seeds. Fruits with seeds. And later on, when he speaks to Adam and Eve, he says to be fruitful. And that's very interesting. And 28, he says so. ויברך אותם אלוהים ויאמר להם אלוהים פרו ורבו. פרו ורבו. Pru is connected to the word pri, which means fruit. Pru urvu, it means fruitful. So he said to humankind, to the human, or to Adam, or to Adam and Eve, or however you want to say, he says, be fruitful and multiply, and subdue the earth. Rule over the fish of the sea, the bird of the sky, and every living thing that moves on the earth. So it's fruit, seeds. Be fruitful, multiply. Yes. And now, we come to actually the line that made me think about this to begin with. That really started this way of thinking for me. So, now, it says in verse 2:5, says, "V'chol siach hasadeh terem yiyeh ba'aretz, v'chol eisev hasadeh terem yitzmach, ki lo hitmir Adonai Elohim ala aretz ve'adam ein la'avod et ha'adamah." It says, "Now all the trees of the field were not yet on earth, and all of the herb of the field had not yet sprouted. For Hashem had not sent rain upon the earth, and there was no man to work the soil." So we've just gone through the entire creation story where Hashem apparently creates everything. And now after all this, it just says that, no, wait, apparently some things hadn't been created. such as, and this is, you can translate it in different ways. I mean, the Stone edition Chumash translates this word as trees, whereas Sepharia, which I think uses the JPS Tanakh translation, says shrub. So shrub or tree, kind of hard. But in 2:5 it says, when no shrub of the field was yet on earth, and no grasses of the field had yet sprouted, because Hashem had not sent rain upon the earth, and there were no human beings to till the soil. What's good here, and what's very important here, is because at this point we've had, I guess, you have Deshe, you have Esav, you have, which is different kinds of herbs or vegetation. You have Etz, which is tree, you have Pri, which is fruit, and now all of a sudden in 2:5 we get a new term. As far as I can see, who knows, I might have missed something. But all of a sudden in 2:5 you have the word v'chol siach. So siach is a new term here. And I'm not 100% sure here, but I would say that you could make the argument that siach in this example is cereal or grains. No grains had yet started to grow, because no one had planted it, because there was no human beings to till the soil. Not only that, this is the first time that rain is mentioned. So the first time that rain is mentioned, it's in direct relation to agriculture, because it says so. Hashem had not sent any rain because there were no human beings to till the soil. So, does this mean that rain was created for agriculture? Because you need rain for agriculture. And then if we jump forward a little bit to 3:23, it says that Hashem banished humankind from the Garden of Eden to till the soil from which it was taken. So Adam and Eve were thrown out of the Garden of Eden to till the soil. It says so. It says so right there in the text, that this is why they had to leave, because they had to work the soil. And between 2:6 through 8, Hashem creates Adam, the first human. And I mean, the way Adam was created and how Adam was, that's a big discussion in and of itself. But, the story, he's being created. But what's the word used here? Because we also have different terms for creating. So in earlier, the words that are used are livro and lasot. So bara Elohim, God created, Elohim asa, God made. So it's created and made, and they're used in different places. And there seems to be a sort of there seems to be a progression there. There seems to be a structure there that I'm not completely sure of myself yet. But we have another new word, or almost new word, because earlier when it says that the ground started sprouting herbs and vegetation, the word that is used is toseh, or bayitzer, liyaser, to create. So when the earth brings forth vegetation, is yotzeh, tetzeh. And what's the word that is used when Hashem creates Adam from the earth? It's vayitzer. So something is unique here. There is a connection to the ground, the earth, Adama, Adam, Yetzer, to grow, to shape. There's something going on here, because at this point, as far as I've been able to see, the only time where that root has been used was when vegetation was created. You can tell I'm getting excited. So everything that Hashem creates is lasot or livro, except for Adam. And I found that very interesting. And I'll get back to choice of words. Because now, all of a sudden, it's Hashem creates the first human. And then it says that he planted the Garden of Eden. And then it says he placed the tree there. And the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and bad. And then in 2:10, all of a sudden, poof, the narrative is gone. From out of nowhere, we get a freaking geography lesson. So it goes from this. And Hashem God caused to sprout from the ground every tree that is pleasing to sight and good for food. Also the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and bad. A river issues forth from Eden to water the garden, and from there it divides and becomes 4 headwaters. The name of the first is Pishon, the one that encircles the whole land of Havilah, where the stone is. And then the other ones are called Gihon, and the third one is called Hidekel, and the fourth one is called Euphrates. And yeah, the thing is that I've seen the idea that Hidekel is actually Tigris. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Tigris. I think so. So why do we get this geography lesson seemingly out of nowhere? Because if you're a history buff like me, where did agriculture start? It wasn't in France. It wasn't in Senegal. It wasn't Newfoundland. It was Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, between the rivers of the Euphrates and the Tigris. Of course, you also had agriculture in Egypt. You had it in the Indus Valley, and you had it in China and Central America. But this was the first time it happened. The absolute first time it happened was in modern-day Syria and Iraq. And it was between Euphrates and the Tigris. So why is it that after we have been browbeaten with vegetation and herbs, with seeds and fruits, with seeds and seeds, and be fruitful and seeds and fruits and seeds, and grow and fruits and seeds, and directly after the creation of the first human being and the planting of the Garden of Eden, all of a sudden it starts speaking about the exact area where agriculture was invented. It might sound like a stretch. To me, it's not that far. But this is where I'm gonna end for now. And the next part, I'm gonna go into some of these things a bit deeper, especially as it pertains to the names and the personalities and the choices of Adam and Eve, as well as Cain and Abel. Because when we come to that point of the story, that's when my hypothesis. In my own humble opinion, that's where my hypothesis really makes its strongest case. So thank you so much for listening to me, and yeah, Shavuot Tov.